Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. Let me do some housekeeping stuff, and then I'm going to pin a comment. One moment. Hey, how you doing? Happy Saturday. I'm just pinning a comment, and we're going to start in this conversation about you can have both. You can have income and impact. And one moment, pin this comment. Hey, how you doing? Happy Saturday. As you come in, drop in the chat where you are logging in from the world, whatever you are comfortable with sharing, your city, state, country. I want to talk about the fact that you can have both. You have income and impact. I was talking to a social worker a few weeks ago, and they were saying, like, I am really mission driven. And with me being mission driven, that basically what she was saying was that she has to like choose. Either she makes money or she leads in her, like, serves in her mission. And I was like, who told you that? That's always my response. So, and then I saw something earlier this morning that made me want to come on and talk about the fact that you can have both. You can have impact and income. And before I jump into this conversation, I want to say that cohort 16 enrollment is opening for the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator. It will be open tomorrow. If you're interested in learning more about working with me for coaching, click the link in the bio, learn more, schedule a chat with me. But I want you all to stop believing the lies that the people tell you out in the streets, out on in the social work streets, about the fact that you have to choose between income and impact. Right. And so before we really jump into this conversation, because I have a page full of notes, right? I think I'm kind of on one today, so I might go to the left, but I'll bring it back at some point. I first want you to drop in the chat. When you think about income for your social work career, how much is that, right? I always hear people talking about good money, or you can make good money, good income. However, people never quantify that. How much is enough for you to be comfortable or exceed comfortableness, if that's a word, in your social work career, right? So what does good money mean to you? Because I've heard the clinical social workers say that, like, they've been told that in their degree programs that it's good money in clinical social work. Then I've heard non-clinical social workers say that they've been told in their degree programs that you can make good money doing something else. What is good money? How do we define that? And it's not a group definition. This should be something that you're coming up with on your own. Because what I see a lot of people doing is creating this career goalpost for themselves. And then when they get there, they realize that the good money that the people were talking about was not what they thought it was going to be. So I first challenge you to get clear on how you define good money. Right? There are some social workers who are like, I am okay with earning $60,000 a year. There are other social workers who are like, I'm okay with making about $50,000 as long as I got a flexible schedule. I can come and go as I please, and I'm able to do what I need to do. How are you defining good money? Then there's other social workers who are like, I need to make at least $100,000 plus a year. 100,000 is the floor. How are you defining good money? Because what I see is a lot of people giving information around the fact that you can't have both in your social work career, and they're doing it from a limited standpoint. And what I mean by that is there are people telling you that you cannot earn good salaries who have never really technically done the type of thing they're telling you can't do, right? And so I want you, or let me rephrase that. There are people telling you that you can't earn a good salary, and they technically have never like ventured off into many different areas of social work. So you can't speak from a place of saying, oh, you can't do this, right? And I feel like I'm going off track, so let me stick with my notes. First, I want to say that good money is relevant, is subjective. It depends on what you need in life to live. Also, another thing that I want you all to keep in mind is that I've shared here on my platform where I have found with my coaching clients macro jobs that pay at least $200,000 a year. Minimum. I think that job post that I've shared one time or even referenced as like a case study example, that job was paying like $250,000 a year. And it did not require a social work background. It did not require any specialized degrees over and beyond a bachelor's degree. It did not require extensive years of like specialized experience. They were just looking for someone who was passionate about a relevant social justice issue. So I say to say this, you can have impact and income. You just have to decide on what does good money, income mean for you. How is that defined? How are you defining that? And ensuring that you don't like waver on that. And you can have both. I had a coaching client once who she would send me these posts that she would find on the internet around essentially like the conversation around when you're serving others, you essentially have to take a vow of poverty. And this one reel she sent me, it wasn't by a social worker. It was by someone from an unrelated profession. And they were basically saying like, when you're serving people publicly, like it's just like the thing that you won't get paid, right? It's just like the known thing. And then I went into the comments and it was literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people echoing the same thing, that in order to serve, you cannot make money, right? And so I want to say that that is not true, and that you just need to learn how to blend both of those desires. So if your desire is to be a mission-driven professional to create large impact in the world, you can do that. And then also you can learn strategies and techniques to maximize your salary earning potential. Right? Because if you continue to walk through the job market thinking that it's like an and or either or type scenario, you are limiting yourself. And so I wanted to share a few reasons why you probably believe that. Right? So the first is there's a lot of misinformation in the social work streets. There's a lot. Like, it's really a lot. Like, and if you fall victim to listening to all of the things that float around in the social work streets, that is not accurate when it comes to careers and jobs, specifically macro social work, you will fall victim to that information. So the first thing you have to be very cautious of is the information that you are taking in and believing and building your whole life around. Right? So there are lots of social workers. Many of them are my coaching clients now, where they said they went through their programs or either came out and started working in the field, and people started telling them what they could and what they couldn't do with their degree. And they built their whole life around this area of practice to ultimately learn, once I taught them the strategies and techniques, that they had other options, that they didn't have to go do that thing that they really didn't want to do. And I'm not going to name the things, right? So the first thing is you have to be very cautious of the career information that floats around in the social work streets, because it potentially, depending on the sources, is limiting your earning potential and has you from a standpoint of believing that it's an either or situation. Either I make good money or I serve. No, you can have both. These other things that could potentially be limiting your ability to believe that you can have both. Okay, so we're dealing with information, we're dealing with, the tangible things. But let's talk about the things that are more like dependent on you and where you are in your life's journey. If you are in a place where you don't believe, and I'm not clinical, I'm just talking from a real world standpoint because I went through this thing. If you are in a place in your life where you don't believe that you are worthy or deserving of having more, doing more, earning more, you won't receive it, even if it like came and sat on your lap. right? So you have to be able to evaluate your relationship with money. And I always tell people, like, when I've gotten a lot of business coaching over the last 5 years. And one of the cornerstones of business coaching is mindset, right? I don't really talk about it. But when I started, they would be talking about mindset and like your relationship with money. And I'd be like, what does this have to do with anything that we're talking about? Like, when you are a natural, like when you have the natural tendency to over intellectualize everything because you just think you're so educated, you will be dismissive of those types of conversations. And that's how I was. I'm like, what does this have to do with you teaching me how to build a business? However, it's everything, because if you don't believe that if your relationship with money is not good, you won't seek out naturally opportunities to make more, do more, have more. And at the root of that, you won't feel worthy of having more, of making more, right? So how I know this to be true, how I've seen it like actualize in my career coaching clients is once they learn how to find macro jobs, and I have taught them how to write the resume, and they have their resume, and they know how to find the jobs, and they are clear about how they qualify for these positions and that they can stand out among competition, and they start hitting apply on jobs. They only apply to jobs that are in the comparable salary range that they are accustomed to earning, which means even though they're seeing jobs well into the six figures, well into the high, like 80, 90,000, they still won't hit apply to that if they are coming from a place where they have historically only made around like 70, 80,000, 60,000, 50,000, 40,000, right? So mindset impedes your ability to really take in the fact that you can have impact and income, because I'm only teaching my people how to get jobs and apply for jobs that are doing systems change work. Right? So when it comes to this, you have to be aware of these silent barriers that are possibly keeping you stuck. So we talked about career misinformation. I'm talking about mindset, even though I know a lot of people will over intellectualize it and be like, what does that have to do? It has everything to do with it. And then the third way that when you are like, I can't have both, or if you're believing what the social workers around you are telling you, another thing that may be impeding that, and I'm looking at my notes, is, did I write a third one? Experiences. Oh, yeah. Like if you are coming from a place where you had limited experiences, and so this is sort of like a sub piggyback to one where I said career information. But like if you are coming from a limited experience place, but you're holding on to it as like truth and law. So what I mean by this is maybe the people in your inner circle, your friends, your colleagues, your parents, it could be people in and outside of work. They're telling you, oh, social worker, not even just social workers, but they're telling you like, oh, if you do this type of work, you can't make a lot of money. If you are holding that as law, even though you know plain as day, clear as day, these people have limited experience. They don't have any expertise in a thing. They are not qualified to tell you this, teach you this, guide you through this, or they're struggling through their own career. That is potentially acting as a silent barrier to your ability to believe that you can have impact and income at the same time. So regardless of how many times I jump on social media and talk about job posting, I have my coaching clients all on Instagram, all on YouTube, all on my podcast talking about their jobs and how much more they're making in their salaries now doing macro level work, systems level work that they are passionate about, that they always wanted to do. You won't believe it, because the people close to you who you hold in high regard are telling you otherwise. So that's why it's very important to make certain that you are really curating support circles around yourself where you are not in a constant battle of just flipping through conflicting information from people who are not reliable sources. And again, this kind of big piggybacks to number one with the career misinformation, but career misinformation also happens in your personal life, not just in your professional life. And you have to be very cautious of that. And you have to be very cautious of the silent and loud messaging that you're getting. Because the truth is, we're being programmed every day. Every time we scroll on the internet, every time we walk out the door and engage with different systems and institutions, we are being silently programmed, silently and loudly programmed. And you have to be careful, and you have to really have strong systems and processes for yourself to ensure that you don't become a victim to the thing. And you are walking around suffering or thinking that you can't have both, and you can. And so with that, I want you to start like looking at the things that, well, more so the people around you. The example I wanted to give was that I spend a lot of time on the business, like entrepreneur side of Instagram. That's where I am. That's all that's in my algorithm. That's all that comes up in my feed. Business coaches, business owners, things like that. There are people in other industries like doing change making work, right? There is someone that I follow here on Instagram who she is like a change maker in the spa industry. She's advocating every day for spa professionals and things like that, and she makes millions of dollars a year. So I say that to say, like, you can have impact. Impact can look many different ways. It doesn't just have to look like working in a local nonprofit. It could look like something blended around what you enjoy in your free time. And you can make income doing the thing. But you have to be, going back to the 3 things that I named, you have to be very cautious of the messaging that you're receiving that's leading you to hold on to this belief, right? And then you have to strategically find a way to reprogram yourself. I don't know another word, to find things that are true and accurate, because these are not accurate beliefs. I've dispelled them repeatedly over the last 4 years. So you have to be cautious about the career misinformation that floats around in the social work streets that tell you have to take a vow of poverty and you can't do impactful work at the same time. You can do impactful work and be paid exceptionally well for it. Also, you have to be careful when it comes to your mindset, your belief around money, your belief around your worthiness to earn more, do more, have more, whatever that is for you. I can't define that for you. And then the third thing is that you have to ensure that your personal circle is feeding you and giving you good messaging. And then even beyond that, like the content that you're engaging with, that it's feeding you and giving you good information and not keeping you in a perpetual like hold pattern of, I'm just going to be here working wherever and earning little and doing whatever. And this is the thing, I never talk about salary on my page. I don't. Someone told me that the other day. They were like, I noticed that in your testimonials with your clients, you never talk about salary. I do that intentionally because my people make money, right? So it's just like it's a silent thing. However, some of my coaching clients, because they want to help others, they come on and in their interviews, they share how much more they're now making in their new macro jobs. However, if you notice, I never ask that question. Because my goal, my hope is that my people will apply for jobs starting at minimum $100,000 a year. That's my hope. That's base level. I really would like to see all of my clients hit apply on jobs and get jobs that are 150 and above. However, for many of them, they are battling the number 2 that I shared around mindset. Right. So I was telling a coaching client the other day that just started her macro job recently. She's one of the newer career wins out of the micro to macro career accelerator. I was like, my goal for you in the next, because I create goals for them like it's my life. But I was like, my vision for you is in the next 2 years, you should be hitting apply on something that's 150 to 200,000 a year. She almost flipped out of her chair. That's the mindset. That's the part people don't want to talk about. Right? So you have to be very cautious about the information that you're ingesting and holding on, building your whole life around the thing. And I had to come forth and bring this conversation because I saw it again this morning on a social work street somewhere, and the person was like, you can't have both. It's either or. Who told you that? That's a lie. Stop believing the lies, okay? All right. So cohort 16 enrollment is opening for the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator tomorrow. Today I have a lot going on. I'm doing a resume writing intensive with one of my Micro to Macro Career Accelerator coaching clients. I'm onboarding a new coaching client inside of the accelerator, and I'm gearing up for cohort 16 official registration week starting tomorrow. It's a busy time over here. It's good things though. If you are interested in possibly working with me inside of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator, which is my 3-month group career coaching program where I will teach you how to identify, apply, and interview for your dream macro social work jobs in 3 months or less, I encourage you to click the link. Visit my website, macroandpaid.com. Learn more about the coaching program. Schedule a free chat with me to see if we are a good fit, because I don't work with everybody. I only work with change makers. So schedule a free chat with me. I have open availability all week, even including today. And I can talk with you and see what your vision is as far as doing impactful work and making good money, so we can get you into the macro and paid community, because we get paid over here. That's why I also asked you all, how do you define good money? Many of you are running around with these definitions of good money, and that ain't good money to you, because people's definition of good money is relevant to their personal experiences. Good money to you could mean is way different than good money for me. So you have to be very careful of those things. So if you're interested in learning more about joining cohort 16, click the link in the bio, visit macroandpaid.com, learn more, and schedule a chat with me. Happy macro career planning. Bye.